Attention passionate Kansas City CHIFS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Kansas City Chiefs' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Kansas City Chiefs fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Kansas City CHIFS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, I hope you're ready because today we're diving into some of the most intriguing and unexpected rumors circulating around the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, we're talking about a potential blockbuster trade that could shake up the entire AFC West. And no, it's not just wishful thinking. Reports have started to surface, and they're causing quite a stir among fans and analysts alike. What if I told you that the Chiefs, a team already stacked with talent and aiming for yet another Super Bowl appearance, might actually be considering a move for none other than Stefon Diggs? I know, it sounds surreal, almost like a plot twist straight out of a blockbuster movie. But stay with me because this rumor isn't just coming out of nowhere. It's rooted in some interesting logic, some strategic considerations, and a lot of what-ifs. Let's start by reflecting on what the Chiefs have been doing this offseason. Patrick Mahomes, the franchise's golden boy, has been putting in the work as always. The man is a machine. He's been training relentlessly, studying film, and preparing himself for what promises to be another dominant season. After falling short at Super Bowl LIX, where they faced that tough loss against the Philadelphia Eagles, 40-22, and struggled to get anything going offensively in the first half, it's clear that Kansas City is laser-focused on bouncing back. That Super Bowl defeat left a bitter taste, especially considering how close they were to winning their third Lombardi trophy in just a few years. And believe me, the Chiefs, front office and coaching staff are doing all they can to ensure that this kind of disappointment doesn't happen again. They believed, for example, that they'd improved the offensive line, which has always been a critical area for Mahomes and the team's offensive success. And to be fair, the additions and adjustments they've made suggest they're serious about giving Mahomes the best protection possible. But what about the wide receiver room? Well, Travis Kelce, of course, remains the unquestioned superstar tight end, and he's lost about 25 pounds this offseason, aiming to stay even more explosive and agile. The receivers room, meanwhile, looks loaded with talent. Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, all guys with speed, route-running ability, and the potential to be real difference-makers. And yet, the whispers of a possible trade for Stefon Diggs have started to circulate, and it's not just fan speculation. Some analysts are taking it seriously. Now, a website called Last Word on Sports has put out a story suggesting that, surprisingly, the Chiefs could be interested in trading for Diggs. And honestly, when you read their reasoning, it's kind of amusing because they acknowledge outright that the team doesn't need another wide receiver this season. They even say that their main contributors, Rice, Worthy, Brown, are already enough to give Mahomes a potent arsenal. But then they add, Diggs could complete this package deal to a really fiery, unstoppable offense, as if bringing in another star receiver could be the finishing touch for what's already a championship-caliber unit. And here's where it gets interesting. The article hints that if there's any team capable of bringing a player back into the right mindset, it's the Chiefs. Now, that's a bold statement because we all know Stefon Diggs' history, his incredible talent, no doubt, but also some off-field issues, attitude questions, and a reputation for sometimes doing as he pleases. Diggs, a guy with over 491 receiving yards and 70 touchdowns in his career, used to be one of the most exciting, polarizing wideouts in the league. His highlights are legendary, but he's also had moments where his frustration boiled over, especially when things didn't go his way. So why would the Chiefs even consider him? Well, that's the million-dollar question. The article points out that Diggs just signed a lucrative 3-year, $69 million deal with the Patriots. Wait, what? Yes, the Patriots, who apparently are now looking to shake things up after a few disappointing seasons. But here's the catch. Diggs is 31 years old, coming off a pretty nasty knee injury, and at this stage of his career, he's not the same explosive player he once was. His speed might have declined a bit, and his injury history raises red flags. Plus, we can't ignore his off-field baggage, those viral videos, the missed off-season workouts, the rumors of attitude issues. For example, there was that infamous Memorial Day weekend video where he was handing a pink substance to women on a boat. Certainly not the kind of publicity a team looking to build a focused, disciplined locker room wants. Diggs himself has tried to sweep some of this under the rug. In early June, after minicamp practice at Gillette Stadium, he told reporters, "I kind of have a thing where I don't talk about my personal life with people I don't know personally." It's a diplomatic response, but it also hints that there's more beneath the surface. He's had a pattern of moving around, first from Minnesota to Buffalo, then to Baltimore, and now to New England, all within a short span of time. Each move brought new questions about his attitude, his fit, and whether he's truly committed to the team's long-term success. And that's where the skepticism kicks in. The Chiefs, as much as they're known for their innovative approach and willingness to take calculated risks, probably don't need a 31-year-old receiver with injury concerns and a reputation for being a bit of a wild card. They already have a solid core of young, talented receivers, and Kelce's presence is irreplaceable. The question is whether Diggs can fit into their team culture, whether he could be brought back into the fold and motivated to perform at a high level, or whether his baggage might cause more headaches than it's worth. But of course, this is all speculation, and the idea of trading for Diggs remains very much a hypothetical scenario. The Chiefs' front office is known for being strategic, patient, and pragmatic. They evaluate every move carefully, balancing talent with team chemistry and long-term stability. So, if they were to pursue Diggs, it would likely be a calculated gamble, perhaps motivated by the desire to have a seasoned, game-changing receiver in the mix, especially with the possibility of injuries and the unpredictable nature of the NFL season. Now, let's take a step back and look at the broader picture of the Chiefs' current roster and season prospects. Last year, despite their Super Bowl appearance, the team faced some offensive struggles, especially early on, which put a lot of pressure on Mahomes and Kelce to carry the load. The offensive line, though improved, still had moments of vulnerability, and the wide receiver core, while talented, lacked a true veteran presence with consistent production. So adding someone like Diggs, if it were possible, would be a move aimed at elevating the entire unit, providing Mahomes with more options, and giving the team a spark in critical moments. But as I mentioned earlier, the Chiefs aren't typically ones to chase after controversial or high-maintenance players unless they see a clear benefit, and that's why this rumor remains just that, a rumor. Still, it sparks conversation because it highlights how hungry the Chiefs are to get back on top. They're willing to explore every avenue, every possibility, to ensure their dynasty continues. And that's what makes this team so fascinating: their mindset, their relentless pursuit of excellence, and their ability to adapt and evolve. Now, let's consider the AFC West for a moment. The division has been fiercely competitive, with teams like the Denver Broncos, Los Angeles Chargers, and Las Vegas Raiders all investing heavily in their rosters. The Chargers, in particular, have been making moves to strengthen their offense, and the Broncos have a new quarterback and a revamped roster. The Raiders, well, they're always unpredictable, but they're certainly not standing still. In such a landscape, the Chiefs know they have to be at their best, and sometimes that means making bold decisions, even if they seem unconventional. The NFL is a league of constant change and adaptation. Teams that stick to the same formula often get left behind. The Chiefs, with their innovative coaching staff and forward-thinking management, are no strangers to shaking things up when the moment calls for it. Remember when they drafted Patrick Mahomes in 2017, or when they traded up to select Kelce, or the time they signed free agents that nobody believed would make a difference. Those moves were risky at the time, but they paid off big time. And, in a way, the potential pursuit of Diggs, though controversial, fits into that pattern of daring to be different. Of course, all of this is speculation at this point, and the Chiefs' front office is probably doing their due diligence, weighing the risks and rewards. They're analyzing film, talking to scouts, and considering whether bringing in a veteran like Diggs is worth the potential fallout. It's a delicate balancing act, and it's what makes following the Chiefs so exciting. Every offseason, every rumor, every whisper about trades or signings keeps fans on the edge of their seats, dreaming about that next piece that could push them over the top. And let's not forget the broader context of Mahomes' career. We're talking about a quarterback who has already rewritten many records and brought so much success to Kansas City. His ability to elevate everyone around him is unmatched. But even Mahomes, with all his talent, can benefit from having a receiver like Diggs if everything aligns perfectly. A true game breaker, someone who can stretch defenses and make those impossible catches in critical moments. That's what the Chiefs have always been about, finding ways to maximize their talent, to innovate, to outthink opponents. As we look ahead to this season, the expectations are sky high. The Chiefs want to defend their crown, to bring home another Lombardi trophy, and to solidify their place as one of the greatest dynasties in NFL history. They've built a team that's not only talented but also hungry, disciplined, and driven. The offseason is always a time of speculation and strategy, and this rumor about Diggs adds a new layer of intrigue. Will they pull the trigger? Or will they stick with what they have and trust their young core? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, Kansas City remains a team to watch, a team that's always thinking ahead, always pushing the envelope. Now I want to shift gears a bit and talk about the current state of the roster. The Chiefs have a lot of promising young talent, especially on offense. Rashee Rice, a second-year receiver out of SMU, showed flashes last season and has the potential to become Mahomes' go-to guy. Xavier Worthy, the speedy rookie out of Texas, is expected to make an immediate impact with his deep speed and agility. Marquise Brown, who has been a bit inconsistent but still possesses game-changing speed, could also be a key player in this offense. The tight end position, anchored by Kels, remains a critical piece, but the wide receiver room is where the team is looking to diversify and expand their options. Kels, as always, is the focal point of the passing game. His rapport with Mahomes is legendary, and his ability to find soft spots in the defense makes him a nightmare for defenders. But with defenses inevitably doubling Kels and trying to contain Mahomes' scramble ability, the other receivers need to step up. That's where someone like Diggs could theoretically come in, if he were still in top form and willing to buy into the Chiefs' system. But again, reality check Diggs, recent injury history and off-field issues make that a complicated proposition. The NFL season is a grind, and teams are always looking for that extra edge, that one piece that can turn a good team into a great one. The Chiefs have proven time and again that they're masters of that art, drafting smart, signing strategic free agents, and making bold trades when necessary. So, while the Diggs rumor might be just that, a rumor, it does serve as a reminder of how ambitious Kansas City is. They're not content with just making the playoffs. They want to dominate, to build a legacy, and to cement their place among the greatest teams in NFL history. And speaking of history, the Chiefs have an impressive recent track record. Since Andy Reid took over as head coach in 2013, they've transformed from a team with potential into a perennial powerhouse. Mahomes, drafted in 2017, has been the catalyst for that transformation, winning an MVP award, 2 Super Bowls, and establishing himself as one of the all-time great quarterbacks. Kels, his trusty sidekick, has been a key part of that success, and the supporting cast has continually evolved to keep pace with the league's changing dynamics. But it's not just about talent, it's about culture. The Chiefs have a strong, disciplined locker room, a coaching staff that emphasizes smart football and adaptability, and a fan base that's among the most passionate in the league. That culture is what allows them to consider bold moves, like potentially trading for a controversial receiver, because they believe in their core philosophy: win now, build for the future, and always be ready to adapt. Let's also consider the AFC West for a moment. This division has become one of the most competitive in the NFL, with each team making significant moves to improve. The Chargers, led by quarterback Justin Herbert, have invested heavily in their offense and defense, aiming to topple the Chiefs' dominance. The Broncos, fresh off a coaching overhaul and with a new quarterback in Russell Wilson, are eager to reclaim their place. The Raiders, unpredictable as ever, are trying to retool around their veteran core. In such a competitive landscape, the Chiefs can't afford to rest on their laurels. They need to stay innovative, aggressive, and ready to pounce on opportunities, like a potential trade for Diggs or another game-changer. Now, let's talk about the big picture. The NFL's landscape is constantly shifting. The league is a chessboard of strategic moves, and the Chiefs are always a few steps ahead, or at least trying to be. Their ability to adapt, to identify weaknesses, and to capitalize on opportunities has been a hallmark of their recent success. Whether it's drafting Mahomes, acquiring Kels, or making shrewd signings in free agency, they've shown a knack for getting it right. But the offseason always brings new questions. Will they add a veteran receiver? Will they make another bold trade? Will they stick with their current core and trust their young players to step up? The answer is probably a bit of everything. The Chiefs are known for their patience and strategic thinking, which means they will evaluate every possibility carefully before making a move. Still, the idea of bringing in someone like Diggs, despite all the red flags, is tempting because it symbolizes their relentless pursuit of excellence. And that brings us to the fans. As passionate Chiefs supporters, we know that every season is a new chapter, filled with hope, anticipation, and a little bit of anxiety. We want to see this team succeed, to bring home that third Lombardi, and to keep their dynasty alive. We love the story of Mahomes and Kels, of the young players rising through the ranks, and of the coaching staff scheming to outsmart their opponents. So in conclusion, whether that Diggs rumor turns into reality or remains just a rumor, it highlights how ambitious the Chiefs are. They're always looking for ways to improve, to innovate, and to stay ahead of the competition. Their season will likely be filled with ups and downs, but one thing is certain. They are a team built for greatness, driven by a winning mentality, and led by one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Kansas City Chiefs news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Kansas City Chiefs fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this whole Diggs situation? Do you think it's a realistic possibility or just a pipe dream? Would you want the team to pursue him, given all the baggage and age concerns? Or do you prefer they stick with their current roster and trust that their young receivers will step up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Chiefs. Remember, this team is built on passion, community, and a shared love for football, so let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, rumors, and insights on the Kansas City Chiefs. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep pushing forward toward another Super Bowl victory.